The magnetic storm hit without warning. Captain Sarah Chen watched helplessly as crimson lightning crawled across her ship's hull, short-circuiting systems faster than the automated repair protocols could respond. The Star Wanderer's engine sputtered and died, leaving her drifting in the void between established trade routes. "Status report," she commanded, fingers dancing across the flickering holographic controls. "Main power at 12%. Life support stable but auxiliary systems failing. Hull integrity compromised in sectors 3 through 7. The ship's AI responded in its characteristic monotone. Nearest registered port, Trading Station Omega 419. Distance, 0.3 light-years. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Omega 419 wasn't on any official Federation maps. For good reason. The station had a reputation as a haven for smugglers, pirates, and others who preferred to conduct their business away from prying eyes. But right now, beggars couldn't be afforded to be choosers. Plot a course, emergency thrusters only, and keep broadcasting that distress beacon. The journey to Omega 419 took 16 hours of careful maneuvering, nursing what little power remained in the backup systems. As the station came into view, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at its construction. Unlike the sleek, standardized designs of Federation outposts, Omega 419 was a patchwork marvel of engineering. Dozens of ships and station modules from different species and eras had been welded together into a sprawling maze of corridors and chambers. The docking procedure was nerve-wracking. With minimal power for stabilizers, Sarah had to rely on her years of experience to guide the Star Wanderer into one of the station's massive hangar bays. The landing was rougher than she'd have liked, but at least her ship was mostly in one piece. As Sarah stepped out of her airlock, she was hit by the cacophony of sounds and smells that characterized frontier stations, the hiss of atmosphere processors, the babble of a dozen alien languages, and the sharp tang of ozone mixed with exotic spices. A small crowd of onlookers had gathered to watch her landing, but they quickly dispersed when she made eye contact. All except one. The being that approached her moved with an otherworldly grace. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but its skin seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury. Multiple sets of eyes studied her with an intensity that made Sarah's spine tingle. "Your ship," the being said in perfect standard, its voice resonating in a way that suggested it wasn't using conventional vocal cords. "The damage is extensive. Nothing that can't be fixed with the right parts and expertise," Sarah replied, trying to project confidence she didn't feel. The magnetic storm had done more damage than she cared to admit. The being's surface rippled in what might have been amusement. "Perhaps. I am X-427. I specialize in unusual repairs. I'm not looking for unusual. Just need to get my ship space-worthy again." "Of course." X-427's eyes shifted through several spectrums of light. "But tell me, Captain, why were you carrying an unshielded quantum resonator through a Class 9 magnetic storm?" Sarah froze. The resonator was carefully hidden in a shielded compartment, or at least, it was supposed to be. Either the storm had damaged the shielding, or this being had very sophisticated scanning technology. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said carefully. "No need for deception, Captain. Your cargo is your business. I simply wish to offer my services. I can repair your ship, completely, not merely patch it together. But I require something in return. Credits are not a problem," Sarah said, though her account balance suggested otherwise. "I have no interest in your Federation currency." X-427's surface now rippled with patterns that seemed to form and dissolve like conscious thought made visible. "I require a service, a retrieval, to be precise." Sarah had been in the cargo business long enough to know when a deal was too good to be true. "What kind of retrieval?" "There is an object, a device of great personal value, currently in the possession of certain individuals who do not appreciate its significance. I need someone with your particular skills to acquire it." "You mean steal it?" "I prefer to think of it as historical preservation." X-427's form condensed slightly, becoming more defined. The device belongs to my people. Those who have it now obtained it through less than legitimate means. Sarah looked back at her damaged ship, then at the mysterious being before her. Every instinct told her to walk away, to find another mechanic, even if it meant going into debt. But something in X-427's manner suggested this was more than a simple theft. Tell me more about this device. It is a key, X-427 said, one of 7 created by my ancestors. As for what it unlocks, the beam's surface now showed complex geometric patterns that seemed to fold in on themselves infinitely. That is a discussion for after you agree to help. And if I refuse, then you are welcome to seek repairs elsewhere on the station, though I should mention that the magnetic storm damaged your quantum shields. Without proper repairs, your resonator will likely destabilize within the next 20 hours. The resulting explosion would be unfortunate. Sarah's blood ran cold. The being wasn't just making an observation, it was a thinly veiled threat. Either help with the heist, or risk her ship becoming a floating bomb. How long would the repairs take? For me, 6 hours. For anyone else on this station. X-427's surface rippled again. Significantly longer. Assuming they even have the necessary equipment. Sarah weighed her options. The cargo she was carrying was already late, and her reputation couldn't afford another missed delivery. Plus, if X-427 was telling the truth about the quantum shields. If I agree, I want the repairs done first. And I want your word that once I retrieve this key, our business is concluded. The repairs must be concurrent with the retrieval. X-427 countered. I will begin work immediately, but the final calibrations will require elements from the key itself. As for our business being concluded, you have my word, bound by the old laws of exchange. Sarah had no idea what the old laws of exchange were, but the being's tone suggested breaking them would be unthinkable. Fine. Tell me about this key and where I can find it. X-427's form shifted one final time, resolving into a more traditionally humanoid shape. Follow me to my workshop. The details of this operation require privacy. As Sarah followed the mysterious being deeper into the station, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking into something far bigger than a simple retrieval mission. But with her ship in critical condition and time running out, what choice did she have? The game was set. Now she just had to play her part and hope she wasn't making the biggest mistake of her life. X-427's workshop defied conventional physics. Sarah watched in fascination as tools floated by themselves, responding to subtle gestures from the mercurial being's ever-shifting form. Holographic diagrams of her ship hung in the air, damage areas highlighted in angry red. The key, X-427 said, manipulating a complex three-dimensional projection, is currently held in the private collection of a drachnid merchant named Voskar. His villa orbits the gas giant in this system, a private villa. In orbit, Sarah studied the projected security systems with growing concern. That's going to be heavily defended. Indeed, which is why most would-be thieves fail before they begin. X-427's surface rippled with what might have been satisfaction. But you have something they did not. And what's that? Human adaptability. The being's form condensed into a more solid state. Your species has a remarkable talent for improvising solutions to impossible problems. It is why I chose you. Sarah frowned. There are plenty of humans in this sector. Why me specifically? Because you survived the magnetic storm. X-427 gestured, and new diagrams appeared. Technical readouts of the storm that had disabled her ship. Those disturbances were not natural. They were a test. Anger flashed through Sarah's chest. You sabotaged my ship. I created an opportunity to evaluate your capabilities. The storm should have destroyed your vessel completely. Instead, you managed to navigate to safety with minimal systems. Impressive. People could have died. But they didn't. Anx 427's tone remained maddeningly calm. Now shall we discuss the actual mission? Sarah wanted to walk away, to tell this manipulative being exactly where it could stick its offer. But she thought of her ship, of the unstable quantum resonator, of her dwindling options. Fine. Tell me about the security systems. The next hour was a crash course in Drachnid defense technology. Voskar's villa was protected by energy shields, automated weapon systems, and a small fleet of patrol ships. But the real challenge wasn't getting in. It was finding the key among thousands of artifacts in the merchant's vast collection. How will I even know what I'm looking for? Sarah asked. Anx 427's surface displayed complex patterns that seemed to hurt her eyes. You will know. The key resonates with human biological frequencies. When you are near it, you will feel drawn to it. That's not cryptic at all, Sarah muttered. And what exactly does this key unlock? Knowledge. Anx 427's form shifted, becoming more angular. The truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. Your species believes it evolved naturally on Earth, that you achieved spaceflight through your own efforts. The reality is far more complex. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. What are you talking about? Humans were not meant to be confined to one world. Long ago, my people. Anx 427 paused, its surface roiling with complex emotions. We made choices that altered the course of galactic history. The keys are proof of those choices. You're saying humans were engineered. I am saying that the truth has been hidden for millennia. Voskar does not understand what he possesses. To him, the key is merely another curiosity in his collection. But if properly used, it could unlock secrets that would reshape civilization itself. Sarah's mind raced with implications. If Anx 427 was telling the truth, this wasn't just about repairing her ship anymore. This was about uncovering the true history of her entire species. Why tell me this? Why not keep up the pretense of a simple theft? Because to retrieve the key, you must understand its significance. It will respond to your genetic code, but your conscious intent also matters. You must want to know the truth. A distant alarm sounded, and new holographic displays sprang to life. Your ship's quantum resonator is beginning to destabilize. Anx 427 said, we have 18 hours before critical failure. The next supply ship to Voskar's villa departs in 2 hours. That is your window of opportunity. Sarah studied the villa schematics one more time. If I do this, if I get your key, I want more than just repairs. I want answers. Real ones, not more cryptic hints about humanity's origins. Agreed. Anx 427's form stabilized into its most humanoid configuration yet. But be warned, some truths, once known, cannot be unknown. Are you certain you wish to bear that burden? Sarah thought of all the mysteries she'd encountered in her years as a cargo pilot, the strange ruins on uninhabited worlds, the inexplicable similarities between human and alien technologies, the gaps in human historical records that no one could explain. I'm certain, she said. Now tell me exactly how I'm getting onto that supply ship. As Anx 427 began outlining the infiltration plan, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was about to step into something far larger than herself. But if there was even a chance of uncovering humanity's true origins, the risk would be worth it. She just hoped she'd live long enough to learn the truth. The supply ship's cargo hold was freezing, and Sarah's muscles screamed in protest after 2 hours of hiding among crates of exotic foodstuffs. Her stolen maintenance uniform itched, but it had gotten her past the initial security checkpoints. Now came the hard part. As the ship docked with Voskar's villa, Sarah activated the sensor scrambler Anx 427 had provided. The device was barely larger than her thumbnail, but supposedly contained technology beyond current Federation capabilities. She'd have 3 minutes of sensor invisibility once she moved. After that, she'd be on her own. The cargo bay doors opened with a hydraulic hiss. Sarah counted to 30, letting the automated loading systems begin their work, then slipped out between moving crates. The villa's interior was a testament to obscene wealth. Every surface gleamed with precious metals and rare materials. But Sarah didn't waste time admiring the decor. According to X-427's intelligence, the artifact collection was 3 levels up. She made it halfway there before everything went wrong. Security breach detected in Sector 7. An automated voice announced in multiple languages. Unknown energy signature detected. All security personnel report to collection levels. Sarah cursed under her breath. The key was already responding to her presence, just as X-427 had predicted, but she hadn't expected it to be detected so easily. She ducked into an alcove as heavy footsteps approached. Drachnid guards in powered armor, their crystalline faces reflecting the emergency lights. That's when she felt it. A pull, like a magnetic attraction in her chest, drawing her toward a specific corridor. The key was calling to her. Following instinct, Sarah pressed her hand against a seemingly solid wall. For a moment, nothing happened. Then microscopically thin lines appeared in the surface, forming complex geometric patterns that matched the ones she'd seen in X-427's workshop. A hidden door slid open. "Well," she muttered, "that's definitely not in the schematics." The secret passage was ancient, its walls covered in writing that seemed to shift and change as she looked at it. The pull in her chest grew stronger with each step. Whatever this key was, it definitely knew she was here. She emerged into a vast circular chamber. Artifacts from 100 worlds filled floating display cases, weapons, artworks, technological devices whose purpose she couldn't begin to guess. And at the center, in a case of its own, was something that made her breath catch. The key wasn't what she'd expected. Instead of a physical object, it was a sphere of pure energy, contained within a lattice of impossibly thin wires. As she approached, the energy began to pulse in time with her heartbeat. Fascinating, isn't it? Sarah spun around. A tall figure stood in the doorway. A Drachnid noble, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. Voskar. "Most of my guests use the main entrance," he said, his translator giving his words an aristocratic accent. "Though I must admit, your method of arrival is more interesting." "I can explain," Sarah began, but Voskar waved a crystalline hand. "No need. I know why you're here." He stepped further into the room. "That device has been waiting for centuries. Every time a human comes near, it reacts, but never like this. You're different somehow." Sarah's mind raced. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. If you know what it is, why keep it locked away? "Because knowledge is power, my dear. And the knowledge contained in that sphere could reshape the balance of power in this galaxy." Voskar's faceted eyes studied her. "The question is, why does X-427 want it so badly?" Sarah felt her blood run cold. "You know about X-427. That mercurial schemer has sent dozens of thieves to retrieve the key. None have made it this far." He took another step forward. "But you made the hidden door open. The ancients' security systems recognized you. Why?" Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared again, different this time, more urgent. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, the automated system announced. "Warning, weapons locked on station." Voskar's crystalline form flickered with concern. "It seems we have more uninvited guests." The chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the space around the villa. 7 ships had appeared, their designs unlike anything Sarah had seen before. They opened fire, their weapons cutting through the villa's shields like they weren't even there. "They're after the key," Sarah realized. "We need to get it out of here." "We?" Voskar's laugh was like breaking glass. "My dear, I have no intention of." The rest of his sentence was lost as an explosion rocked the chamber. Display cases shattered, priceless artifacts tumbling through the air. Sarah lunged for the key's container, her fingers closing around the energy sphere just as another blast hit. The moment she touched it, The world changed. Information flooded her mind. Images, languages, mathematical concepts far beyond current understanding. She saw Earth as it had been millions of years ago, watched as ancient beings reshaped human DNA, understood why they had done it, and what humanity was meant to become. Remarkable, Voskar whispered, watching as patterns of light danced across Sarah's skin. You're interfacing with it. After all these years, another explosion rocked the villa. Through the transparent walls, Sarah saw escape pods launching, carrying the merchant's staff to safety. The unknown ships were systematically destroying the station's defenses. Come with me, Sarah said, surprising herself. You want answers too, don't you? About why they built this thing, why they chose humans. Voskar hesitated, his crystalline form refracting emergency lights. You have no idea what forces you're dealing with. Maybe not, Sarah admitted, but I know staying here means death, and I know humanity deserves to learn the truth about their origins. Are you coming or not? The next explosion made the decision for them. As the chamber began to decompress, Sarah and Voskar ran for the secret passage, the key's energy pulsing stronger with each step. Behind them, the unknown ships continued their assault, determined to claim the key for themselves. But their pilots had made one crucial mistake. They had assumed that once they found the key, taking it would be easy. They hadn't counted on human adaptability. They hadn't counted on Sarah Chen. And as she ran through the crumbling villa with an alien artifact merged to her consciousness and a crystalline merchant at her side, Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The real chase was just beginning. Sarah's mind burned with ancient knowledge as she piloted the maintenance shuttle through the debris field of Voskar's ruined villa. The key's energy had spread throughout her nervous system, showing her things no human was meant to comprehend. Humanity hadn't just been engineered. They had been designed as inheritors, meant to achieve something even their creators couldn't accomplish. 3 ships on our tail, Voskar announced from the co-pilot's seat, his crystalline form pulsing with anxiety. Their weapons are charging. They won't fire, Sarah said with a certainty that wasn't her own. They need the key intact. And now it's part of me. The key's energy pulsed in agreement, sending another wave of information through her consciousness. She saw vast machines buried beneath Earth's surface, waiting to be awakened. She understood why humans felt such a deep connection to the stars, because they had been engineered to return to them. Incoming transmission, Voskar reported, from all 7 ships. The view screen flickered to life, revealing beings that made X-427 look mundane. They were pure energy given form, their shapes constantly shifting between geometric patterns that hurt the eyes. Return what was stolen, they said in unison, their voices bypassing the ship's speakers and resonating directly in Sarah's mind. The key was not meant for lesser beings. Lesser beings. Sarah laughed, the sound strange even to her own ears. Is that what you called us when you engineered our ancestors? When you shaped us to be your replacements? The energy being's forms flickered with what might have been surprise. You have accessed the memories. Impossible. Your kind lacks the neural capacity to. To what? To understand. To evolve. That's why you're here, isn't it? Because humanity is finally reaching the potential you built into us. The key's energy surged, and suddenly Sarah understood everything. These beings, the architects, as they called themselves, had seeded countless galaxies with life. But humanity had been different. Humans had been designed to surpass their creators, to achieve true consciousness beyond physical form. The experiment must be contained, the architects declared. The evolution must be controlled. That's where you're wrong. Sarah's fingers danced across the controls, inputting calculations that would have been impossible for her to understand an hour ago. Evolution can't be controlled. That's the point. The maintenance shuttle's engines shouldn't have been capable of opening a hyperspace window. But as Sarah activated the sequence she just invented, reality itself seemed to bend around them. The key's energy merged with the ship's systems, transforming basic technology into something far more advanced. "What are you doing?" Voskar demanded, his crystalline form reflecting the impossible energies building around them. "Proving them wrong." Sarah smiled as the hyperspace window opened, not the usual blue-white tunnel, but a swirling vortex of colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. They created humans to be adaptable, to think in ways they couldn't. "Well, let's show them just how adaptable we can be." The architect's ships opened fire, but too late. The maintenance shuttle plunged into the vortex, riding waves of probability that no human ship had ever navigated before. Through her connection to the key, Sarah could feel the architect's surprise and fear. They hadn't expected this level of advancement so soon. As they emerged from the vortex, Sarah gasped. They were orbiting Earth, but not the Earth she knew. This was Earth as it had been millions of years ago, when the architects had first chosen it for their experiment. "Why here?" Voskar asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Because this is where it started, and this is where we'll find the others." "Others?" Sarah nodded, new memories flooding her consciousness. 6 more keys. 6 more humans who can unlock them. Together, we can activate the machines the architects left behind, not to destroy or conquer, but to evolve. To become what we were always meant to be. The key's energy pulsed one final time, showing Sarah a vision of humanity's potential future. Not as conquerors or destroyers, but as guides helping other species achieve their own evolution. The architects had created humanity to be their replacements, never realizing that their creations would choose a different path entirely. "Your crystalline friend speaks the truth," a familiar voice said over the comm. Though not in the way he intended. "X 427. Sarah said, "I should have known you'd find us. I have been waiting at this temporal coordinate for quite some time," the Mercurial being replied. "After all, I had to ensure humanity's first step toward transcendence occurred at precisely the right moment." As her ship's sensors detected more temporal distortions, more humans arriving with more keys, Sarah finally understood. This wasn't just about uncovering humanity's origins. This was about choosing humanity's future. The revolution wouldn't be fought with weapons or ships. It would be fought with knowledge, with evolution, with the very force of human consciousness itself. The architects had created humanity to be their successors, but humanity would decide for itself what that actually meant. And as the other key bearers began to arrive, their ships emerging from impossible vectors in spacetime, Sarah knew that the real story was just beginning. The question wasn't whether humanity would evolve. It was what they would choose to become. A ring of 7 ships hung in Earth's prehistoric orbit, each containing a human connected to one of the architect's keys. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah could feel the others' experiences. A deep space explorer, a xenorchaeologist, a quantum physicist, a terraforming specialist, a xenolinguist, and a consciousness researcher. 6 other humans who, like her, had been drawn into something far larger than themselves. The architects' pursuing vessels had surrounded them, their energy forms rippling with barely contained power. "You cannot comprehend the forces you are tampering with," they broadcast simultaneously. "The evolution must be guided, controlled." "That's where you failed," Sarah responded, speaking for all 7 humans. "Evolution isn't about control. It's about adaptation, about finding new ways forward." Through their connected consciousness, she felt the others' agreement. The keys had chosen them specifically, humans who had already pushed the boundaries of what their species could achieve. Now they would push those boundaries even further. X 427's ship moved between the humans and the architects. "They are ready," the Mercurial being announced. "Just as you were before your own transcendence." The architect's forms flickered with what might have been shock. You are one of us. I was, before I chose a different path." X 427's form shifted, revealing patterns that matched the architect's own. "I stay behind to ensure your creations would have a choice you never gave yourselves." The revelation rippled through the connected human consciousness. X 427 wasn't just a mysterious alien. It was an architect who had rejected its species' rigid control, who had waited millions of years to ensure humanity would have the chance to choose its own destiny. "The machines below," Sarah said, understanding flowing through the key's connection. "They're not just evolution engines, are they? They're gateways. To what we might become," the physicist added, "or to something entirely new." The key's combined energy began to pulse in harmony, their power reaching toward Earth's surface. Deep beneath the crust, ancient machines stirred to life, not to transform humanity instantly, but to offer them the choice of transformation. "You would give this power to everyone," the architects demanded, "even those who might misuse it." "We'll give them the choice," Sarah corrected, "the same choice you denied yourselves. Evolution isn't about becoming perfect. It's about having the freedom to become what we choose to be." Through the key's connection, Sarah shared her vision with the others. The machines wouldn't force humanity to transcend. Instead, they would open doorways to new forms of consciousness, to deeper understanding, to ways of existing that even the architects hadn't imagined. Each human would decide for themselves whether and how to step through. "And what of those who choose wrongly?" the architects pressed. "Who use this power for destruction?" "Then we'll adapt," the terraforming specialist answered. "Like we always have. We're not asking your permission," the synorchaeologist added. "The keys chose us because we understand something you never did. True evolution requires the freedom to fail." The 7 keys pulsed in unison, their energy transforming the ancient machines from tools of controlled advancement into gateways of possibility. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt the exact moment when the change became irreversible. The architects' ships powered up their weapons. "We cannot allow." "You cannot stop it," X-427 interrupted. "They have already surpassed your understanding, just as they were designed to do. The only question is whether you will finally learn from your creation." For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the architects' ships hung motionless. Then, one by one, their energy forms began to change, shifting into configurations that seemed to defy reality itself. "We will observe," they finally said, "and perhaps learn." As the architects' ships withdrew, Sarah felt the connection with the other humans deepening. They had work to do, preparing humanity for the choice ahead, ensuring the gateways would remain options rather than imperatives, teaching others to understand the true meaning of evolution. "So," she said through their shared link, "where do we begin?" "We begin," X-427 answered, its form now a bridge between what was and what could be, by doing what humans have always done best, taking one impossible step at a time. The 7 ships descended toward Earth's surface, their keys pulsing with the power of choice, of possibility, of hope. Humanity's next great adventure wasn't about becoming perfect or transcending physical form. It was about having the freedom to become whatever they chose to be. And as Sarah guided her ship toward the first gateway site, she smiled. The architects had created humanity to be their successors, never realizing that their greatest success would be in giving their creation something they had never had themselves: the power to choose their own path to the stars. The real work was just beginning. But then, that's what evolution was all about.